Hey everyone, it's Megan Wise. Welcome to Portfolio Profits Podcast. Here we're talking about how we help our clients and ourselves make money and protect that profit in real estate, especially in Indy, which is just a bustling hub for investments. And I'm so excited to have Mr. Tony Boutros. Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah. Thanks for coming, Mr. Tony Boutros. I'm so happy to dive into your model and what you do. Being very excited to have you join KWP last year. And wanted to get you on this podcast to talk about the super cool model that your team does and how you can help sellers in many different ways rather than just the traditional list and sell my house way, right?
Yep.
So tell everybody a little bit, how did you get into real estate? How did your, energy, come into this kind of real estate teamwork?
I got into real estate, I'd say sometimes on accident. Other times the reality is by God, by God's will. I started with the biggest company in the country that does wholesale called New Western.
Yeah.
Not the biggest fan of their model. So I was there for a month and a half. Left, made $900 my whole time being there. And then I thought I knew everything, even though I had been in the industry for 2 months. I thought I knew everything. So I tried to do everything. And of course, at that point in time, it was just me. I didn't have a team. So I was trying to build basically 10 different businesses because I thought I knew everything. And so the next probably 6, 7, 8 months, I made another 2,000 or 3,000. And then February, this would have been February February of 2024 is when we really started just humbling myself to go down one route.
Yeah, sometimes it's so exciting, all the opportunities that you could see in real estate, but I think that's great that you were self-aware, you're young into real estate, thinking I know everything. I think we all kind of act like that at first, but you pulled your ego aside and said, I'm just going to focus on jumping out of wholesaling and turning into a real estate broker, right?
I actually jumped because at that point in time, I was trying to do loans and trying to do brokerage. I was trying to do wholesale. The initial couple years of the business was primarily wholesale. We did have an agent who just departed from our team about a month ago, and now we're handling everything in-house going forward. But yeah, so the first couple of years, primarily the bread and butter was wholesale, and we've expanded now from there versus I was trying to expand before I had anything before. But now that we have a base, now we're able to expand.
Okay, so you built this foundation. You learned about wholesaling with New Western a little bit. You saw their model, and anybody who works with investors and investor categories like this, what wholesaling is, can you give a simple, quick sentence to the layman?
Yeah, wholesale, if you take it down to basic principles, I am serving distressed sellers. So it could be a seller in divorce, could be a seller in foreclosure, probate, could be an inherited house, could be a seller's fine, but the house itself is in distress. A lot of times you'll run into both with traditional wholesale, and so we come to an agreement with the seller, and a lot of companies don't do this. We are very transparent with our seller. We are not the buyer, so we tell them what we're doing. And so let's say we come to an agreement for $80,000. Our job then is to market that property to our buyers that we work with, whether they're landlords or flippers or sometimes hedge funds. And we might sell it for $100,000, and then we're taking that in between.
Makes sense. That's an easy way. And so that's wholesaling. And in 2024, laws changed that wholesalers had to get their real estate license, correct?
I don't know about is it in Indiana yet? I think it's just starting to go around the country.
Actually, yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. So the wholesale game kind of changed, right? So some people had to get out of that game because they had to become licensed real estate brokers, which I think is, I've heard lots of good and bad about that. But I think it's nice because it just expands your resources and your tools helping these sellers. So these distressed sellers, you find them and you get with them and you explain there's many different options to sell your house. So now what do you do when you find a distressed seller or distressed house? What's the opportunity if somebody has one for you and your team to come in?
So nowadays, we were talking about this before we got on camera. We are only marketing, so we're not doing, the $80,000 houses anymore 99% of the time. We're doing, like I just mentioned, this house is $500,000 or just under $500,000. So we're doing much higher price properties, which allows us flexibility in what we can offer to the seller. So as I was telling you before, we have 5 different offers, and I can go into those right now if you want.
If I'm a seller, I'm a distressed seller, I have a distressed house, or I need to get out quickly, I can call you to come in. And what are the 5 options that you can offer to me that your team does? I think it's very unique from others. So I'd love to share with the viewers.
Yeah. So there would be a few more qualifying questions I would ask you in our process just to be able to determine what would really be the best fit for you and for your family. But I'll just go into the offers. So number 1 is our cash offer. This is the quickest. We can close in as soon as a week. We use private money. So people like you and I who have money sitting in the bank, they're losing money because of inflation every single year. So we're paying them on average 8 to 12% annualized returns. And we are buying the property with that private money, which allows us to fund it within 7 days, which is a win-win-win for us, for the seller who's able to close that fast without all the showings, all the hassle, all the negotiation, et cetera. All that goes into a traditional listing, and then a win for the lender because they're literally sending a wire and getting a wire back with interest, and they're doing nothing else. So people talk about passive returns in real estate. Rentals are not passive. People are like, I want to get rentals because I want passive. They're not passive. But investing in private notes or private lending is passive. So that's number 1 is our cash offer. Number 2 is our novation. So this has kind of become one of our bread and butter, one of our most used strategies right now. And this is effectively, we are coming to, it's similar to a wholesale in the fact that we're coming to an agreement with the price with the seller up front. So, if I'm talking to you today and you want to sell your house, I'm coming to an agreement on the price with you today. And then we're putting everything into it as far as in coordinations with inspectors, appraisers, agents, all that kind of stuff. And then also, this is the cool part. We will cover and coordinate any contractors. So if there's $10,000 of work that needs to be done prior to closing, or the buyer doesn't want it, we cover that out of our own pocket so the seller doesn't have to.
So you'll give the seller, the contractor, access and or organize and get the contractors in there to update the property to get more money.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're able to handhold that process because you have contractors that you trust.
And then we also cover the fees, which is huge.
Yeah, that is huge.
So that's number 2. Number 3 is seller finance. That's, you have a house. A lot of times these are houses, or these are more, I'd say, distressed sellers. So for instance, I was talking to a guy who has a $700,000 condo in Carmel. Talking to him last week, and the condo's great. I mean, it was built like 2 or 3 years ago, but he's underwater. He wants to move to Florida. All his family's in Florida. So that's a example of someone who could be a good fit for a seller finance, because they don't necessarily need like all that money right now. They're doing well. They make good money. But they just need out of that house. They need out of that liability so they can go and be with their family in Florida. Number 4 is similar, but that's different when you have, so seller finance usually is, they don't have a mortgage. Number 4 is they do have a mortgage, and number 3 and number 4 can be combined too. That's cool as well. But number 4 is we take over their existing loan. So maybe they have a $200,000 loan and they're paying $2,000 a month. We come in and immediately take over that loan. And I mean, we can really close next day if title is ready, because we're just keeping the existing loan in place. So
does that loan have to be assumable?
It does not need to be assumable, because it would actually stay in their name, which also boosts their credit. So a lot of times this is good for a seller who's maybe in pre-foreclosure. They're about to lose their house to foreclosure. And so instead of losing their house and getting their credit shot, their credit's probably, already not the best, but it's going to start going up because again, the mortgage is still in their name. And now they're having on-time payments for the next several months until we refi or until we sell. And now their credit is starting to go up. And then number 5 is we can do a traditional listing where it's, a little bit more hassle, but ultimately going to be most of the time the top dollar immediately once you sell. You're not having to wait for the money like a sub 2 or seller finance.
It's a longer process,
Yeah.
but you might make a little bit more money working the traditional MLS market.
Right.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So you could meet these sellers, and depending on their motivation and what their needs are, you say, hey, we can buy it cash at a week. If you don't have a mortgage, we can set up seller financing, and just to get you out quickly. You can come in and work alongside them to make their home more beautiful, right? Rip out the nasty carpet and replace it, or fix it up, make it the cosmetics go a little bit more trendy. And then that way you're going to get a little bit more money on the dollar. And your company has those contractors to do that. So that's great. And then the other options are just hoping, if none of those work, go on the market.
We're a very, I'd say, adaptive company. I don't know if that's a word, but we're always learning. We're always growing. And so we just recently brought in our listings in-house where they'd be under my name. And I'm just always constantly scraping through, like, what's the latest strategy? And so that really gives the sellers the best opportunity to sell their house for what they're looking for, because we are always learning on, like, what's going on in the market. How can we best sell this house? How can we best serve this seller?
That's awesome. So you come in with lots of options.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite part of the process, do you think? Just helping everyone get to that finish line and finding their creative solution?
Yeah, I think my favorite part of the process, it's a good question. It's adapted over the years now that we have a team. So I'm not really on the phones with sellers as often anymore, or really not much at all. I was on one call last week, which is the condo I mentioned. And I wasn't necessarily supposed to be on that call, but I just had to cover. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a team that runs and gets into all these distressed sellers' contacts and let them know your guys' array of resources and tools to sell the house. Yeah.
I think my favorite part, if I had to choose one, and this might sound cliche, but my company's called Reborn Homes. And so we're very faith forward, very Jesus centric. I tell my team all the time, like, if you're on a call and it's like they bring up Jesus, or they're like, it just comes up, like, great, like, talk about that, like, I'd rather you bring someone closer to the Lord than even if you don't get the sale. So, but I think also because of how I was able to humble myself in the beginning to go to just one strategy, and now expanding, now we have these different strategies that serve different sellers in different ways. And that's Jesus, because Jesus came to serve, not to be served.
Oh, I love that. So you're a servant leader for sure. And Reborn is a place where people can come and go, I have some issues and I don't need to necessarily go the traditional route. And you're able to give them options. That's awesome. So if somebody wants to call and contact you, we'll put all your information in our chat. But so the best thing is to reach out and get a consult with you guys, right?
That'd be great. Yeah. They can reach out. It takes probably 5, 10, 15 minutes. We can run them through every single one of the 5 options we discussed. And for agents, even, love working with agents. Some agents want to work the hard way, make 3%. If you are an agent and you want to make 6%, and do it a lot faster, then feel free to bring your properties to us first. Ideally before they hit the market. That's always great. But
that's a great point. So realtors who have friends with distressed properties and they're in over their head, they don't know how to handle distressed properties or pre-foreclosures. They can refer it to you. Yeah, I love that option, because sometimes people don't know all the ins and outs. And like you said, you had to humble yourself. And I think it's smart, because once you start a foundation in real estate, then you learn and you figure out what you really need to serve the clients. It takes some time to figure that out along the way. So you guys have it figured out, it seems. And you were telling me earlier about your use of AI and how it's really made you such a better realtor and servant leader. Tell me a little bit about how you're using it.
Yeah, there's one that we use called Victor. Victor is built into our Slack. And so we have, I don't even know what they stand for. It's called a cron, CRON, basically an automated thing that it does every single day at a certain time. So for instance, one basic thing that it does for me is, like, at 5 a.m. every single morning, it'll send me my daily brief of, like, what my calendar looks like, if there's any emails, all that kind of stuff, what my top priorities are for the day, if there's any decisions I need to make, because now I'm really in a position in the company where most of my job is making decisions. I'm not actively selling and that kind of thing anymore. So that's one basic thing. Another thing is like in our Slack, it also keeps our sales team accountable. So we have another AI that it's really cool. It follows up with all of our leads. Sounds like a human, so it follows up via call, and it also calls inbound leads within 2 minutes. So if we get a lead at 2 a.m, I don't have to get it. My team doesn't have to get it. We have an AI to get it, and then my team will get it in the morning to actually close them. And then it also has a role play bot. So my acquisition manager, before I hired him, I gave him access to that, and he did hundreds of role plays before he even thought he was going to get hired. And then the third is a sales coach. So what it does is it grades every single call, and then there's, I think, 10 metrics that it grades, and you can see the transcript, you can see the key points that were covered in the call, and you can see the 10 grades in front of you, and you can see that on a weekly basis, a daily basis, a call by call basis. I think I can go back like the whole year if I wanted to see like where the improvement's been, where maybe we've been flatlining, or maybe even where we've gone down if we have. So
knowing your numbers, that's so cool, because it's something, as leading Reborn, you can automate the tracking, and then an AI is telling you guys how the calls are going pretty much. That's really awesome. Does it tell you you're doing great usually?
I think there's things that we're still working on in our training, and part of that is probably because of me too. Like I said, I have a lot of ideas. I'm always learning, I'm always growing, but sometimes that can be a lot easier to learn than to actually implement, which is what my team does. I'm just the one kind of like giving here's a new thing that we're doing, but it's like, okay, we're doing like 15 new things now. So you just have to slow down a little bit. So
that AI integrated helped you guys see your progress on calls and closings, and how to make it a better process to help your sellers.
Yeah. And then we're automating like our TC for the most part. That way I want the people that are on my team to have the highest leverage jobs in real estate, meaning they're only doing what humans can do. Yeah. And because there is a lot that AI can do now. So the good news for those who are not on AI yet is that we are still in a place where a lot of the AI usage still needs a human kind of like commandeering it, if you will. But I think in the near future, that's going to be, even that will be largely replaced, just where the AI covers all of it. So
it's interesting, and it's cool that you guys are avant-garde on implementing it now. I think many people aren't maybe in real estate, but with your guys' world, it's able to get you access to more people and share how Reborn can help them get out quickly, get underwater quickly, fix their credit. You guys are offering a lot. So, well, thank you for sharing. And I think that it's going to be fun watching you. We've enjoyed having you and your team at Keller Williams Portfolio, and watching you guys work the calls and manage your team. It's really inspiring. You guys are a bunch of like young studs, like coming in, making calls, helping people, and you're leading with Christ. And I think that's hard in our industry sometimes. And it's just been really fun to watch. So I'm so glad you're here, and the viewers can know that there's more to real estate than just the regular listing. And to call us, because you have these options for them. And maybe it's hard to talk about we're underwater, and maybe it's hard to talk about family dynamics changing and needing to move quickly, but you have that easy button at Reborn. Yeah. So cool.
And it's adaptive to whoever they are.
Yeah. It keeps changing to their issue, whatever their issue may be. You got the answer. I love it. So is there anything else you want to share about how, your team works, or Keller Williams? And are you hiring? If somebody's interested in your program, are you open to adding to your team?
Yeah, we're always hiring. We actually have an interview tonight with a dispo manager that we're going to be more than likely hiring. And then we're always going to be hiring. I'd say right now it's largely sales positions. We'll probably be hiring at least 2 more salespeople in the next year. Maybe 1 TC, just again, depending on how much it really can take over. Right now, we have a great TC who's overseas, but we'll consider whether it's worth bringing one in-house. But yeah, I think aside from that, it's just a matter of one, yeah, like you said, Christ-centered. I'd be dead or in jail or, homeless without Christ. So there's no other reason to keep going. But then I think also a lot of credit to my team, because like I said, I'm in a position now where, I have some days where I probably work too much, and it's not because I need to. It's just I get drenched in it. But like yesterday, I worked like an hour, and it's because of my team is great. We have great AI, we have great systems and tools and processes. I've also invested 50 to 100,000 somewhere in there into coaching. And so that's a lot of what's built our foundation too, is just learning from those who have already done it.
That's so well said. I think part of why Keller Williams Portfolio is in existence is we're lifelong learners, and we don't know everything, and we're learning every single day. And using these kind of tools gives us that time back to go be with our faith or go be with our family, because real estate is so passionate. And for those that love it like us, we could do it all day, every day. Yeah. But it sounds so nice to have the team that you built and that you poured yourself into coaching. I have a coach as well, and I think it's the only way to go if you're ever running your own business. Someone to keep you accountable and push you. So we offer coaching here at Keller Williams Portfolio, and among all of the leaders here. So if you are interested in that, if you're interested in sales with Reborn or anything we have to do, please reach out. Tony's amazing, and he's so much knowledge all around the city. So he's just telling me about his Brownsburg acquisition. So if you are anywhere in the city and anything that sounds really exciting, reach out to Tony and Reborn. Stay tuned and have a great day, everyone. Thank you.